Hello!
We're back!
We are back, and we're going to do something different this week.
A little bit different. So, we've been kind of thinking about, as cheesy as this is, like, the season's changing. I feel like fall has so many potential benefits. It's kind of, for me...
It still feels like summer in Memphis.
It does.
Okay.
But...
Yes, that's what you're saying.
For me, I feel like it's a great time to kind of look at what's left of the year and what's to come. And so we wanted to actually reshare an episode that we've re-listened to recently.
Yeah.
That kind of helped. It's weird to like
listen to yourself and then get stuff out of it. I agree with that,
yes.
But we did. Yeah.
So we did, and we wanted to just reshare that with y'all and kind of repackage it, and hopefully you guys love it just as much.
It could be their first time hearing it.
Yeah, and maybe it applies a little bit different. It applied differently to us listening to it now. So we thought you guys would enjoy.
Thanks, guys. We're back. The Mizell Show.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
Big news.
Big news. Breaking news.
Big
Changing news. If you're listening to this, you've seen or heard the...
If you follow Steven.
If you follow Steven or Alanna.
On the Insta. I'll probably share it. I don't know. It depends on how cute it is.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm just kidding. I will definitely share big news for Steven and myself and our family.
Coming up now.
You have to listen. Perfect. Welcome to the Mizell Show.
An inspiration for a new generation.
Hi, I'm Alanna Mizell, a loving mother of two, a devoted wife to Steven, and an entrepreneur helping women realize their dreams and potential.
And I'm Steven Mizell, caring father of two, a devoted husband to Alanna, and a driving force to help young men prepare for life after college football.
And if that wasn't enough, we're a biracial couple.
She was raised in the North, but I was raised in the South.
The only thing normal about our lives, who am I kidding? It's never normal around here. Join us for the Mizell Show.
Right now. We are back on the Mizell Show.
You guys,
Alanna
let me tell you what's happened today.
Alanna,
we were on the way to drop off the kids at Granny's.
It's been a day.
It's been a day.
A day.
Literally, it wasn't even. Was it 8 a.m.?
It was like 8:15. 8:15.
Stephen goes back to the door to go back inside, and we have one of those like swipey locks.
It's an electronic lock where you can put a code in to get in the house. Yeah.
But like you don't lock the bottom lock.
You cannot lock the bottom lock.
Well, Briggs did.
Briggs locked the bottom lock.
Let me tell you where our key was.
Key was locked in my car,
which was locked.
Which is locked.
And those keys were inside the house.
Inside the house. And so you're going back like a quick, let me go get something, and you just turn the corner, and 9 times out of 10.
I wish you could have seen Steven's face.
I was at that point of frustration, like, are you kidding me? And this also,
I thought he was going to say some curse words, and Steven really doesn't curse. So I was like, oh.
And this also goes back to the fact that, less than 2 weeks ago, we had somebody at our house doing some work, and they said, we locked up and we locked the bottom lock. And I was like, no. So we had a locksmith come out, do the thing, get us in the house.
Right. We're best friends with our locksmith.
We're now best friends with our locksmith. We've contributed to his monthly income.
I wonder if he has a punch card.
I hope not. He might have a punch card, but yeah.
Does he have a referral program?
I referred him to my other real estate agents. I said, hey guys, this guy's
so good.
He's so good. He's nice.
He's very kind.
Very kind. Very cordial.
So do we get a punch card?
We might need to get a punch card with him.
I'm going to ask him.
You should. Hopefully we won't see him. That's the goal.
But you guys, okay, so then, this isn't even the topic of our podcast today.
No, but we like to give the people a heads up what's going on.
Then we're getting ready for bed. And I go, okay guys, go brush your teeth. Brother locked the bathroom door
from
the inside,
and then closed the door.
He's not in it.
He's not in it.
Nobody's in
it. All of us.
I'm like, Adele, are you in the bathroom? No.
Yes.
Oh my blessed. So then we have these like little midget keys that unlock a regular door.
The keys that come with the door, like miniature keys that come with the door. And when we moved into our house, we had like 18 of them. But these little fingers have now taken them and hidden them in crevices.
I don't know if he swallows them.
I think Adele probably has like 8 of them
she's
tucked away in some sock
or
drawer somewhere.
So then we're sitting there having to pick the lock with a bobby pin
to get into our bathroom door. To like like, it's kind of ironic. The way the day started is the way the day finished with a locked door.
That's not
of
ironic.
Us trying
That's
to,
called torture.
It's called Briggs.
It's called Briggs. But how ironic that you
are opening the door to a new part of my life.
Okay, well, that was very cheesy.
I was
cheesy. Like, and you think you want to spend more time with your family. What it's really going to be is picking locks.
Picking locks. Yes. I guess, yeah. It's just true. More time with the family.
So, what are you doing?
So, when you're... Alanna loves a good drum roll. As you are listening to this podcast, if you follow us on social media, you probably already know the news because it's a Tuesday when this drops. I have left the University of Memphis.
For the first time in 11 years leaving the University of Memphis.
I have...
First time in 15 years.
15 years
leaving higher education. First time ever in your professional career.
Yeah.
Leaving
higher education.
Yeah,
setting. Exactly. I have left my post at the University of Memphis as the Director of Player Relations. It is...
Why?
I don't know. This podcast is long enough. I think when people ask me why, at the end of the day, the reason I left the role of Director of Player Relations is because you have to do what's best for your family, and you have to do what's best also for the trajectory of your career, your earning potential, your growth.
Yeah.
I think all those come into play. College football, athletics is very unique in which a lot of times there's sadly no upward movement. Like, you get to a role and you could be really good at that role, and you could get some professional development here and there. You might get a raise here and there, but it's very like you just...
From what we've seen, it's not a specific industry in which, especially with the big coaches conference not happening this year.
Yeah. But even with the coaches conference,
even with that, you guys aren't really being professionally developed.
Yeah, and you're still just...
Unless you're seeking it yourself in other avenues, which really, from an athletic standpoint, they really don't have time. True. Whereas, like, it's not like the clock stops at 5:30. You go home, you eat dinner with your family, and then then you've got all this time after. Yeah. Many a times, it's like squeezing in dinner.
It's squeezing in dinner, trying to come by and get dinner, or just sacrificing that you won't get it, and it's one of the things where you won't be able to get that family time. You won't get the dinner,
right? Or may more than likely won't get the salary increase.
Oh yeah, won't get the salary increase
based off of experience and performance. And that's something that I saw in the industry that, I had been around the program since Coach Norvell first got there. Kind of did it part-time, helped out, put my face around, made some good connections through there. And then in 2019, as if you hopefully listen to the podcast, you've heard our transition and a step out on faith to get into that actual role. And so Coach Norvell was here for a year, and then he moved on to Florida State. So when you were with him for a year because he was here longer than you.
Yeah, I was officially on staff with him for a year,
which was the previous head coach.
Previous head coach at the University of Memphis. And so that's the first thing when you have a coaching change, or even sometimes with companies, and you have a CEO or a VP move, you kind of assume or think this might be a chance for you to either negotiate something where you're at if you're going to stay, or that coach might take you or find value in you if they're able to fit you into their new coaching staff. So that happened pretty quick for us. We had a very crazy wild run our first year, and we're like, okay, he left. He might call us. What does it look like to move to Tallahassee? I don't know. Or it's like, oh, we're staying here with the new coach, and he has to now change his staff, replenish his staff. And so you have both of those kind of things. You're like, oh.
And both guys are really what they're trying to do in every scenario. They've got X number of dollars, just like a regular budget would be.
Yep, exactly.
But they've got to kind of finagle what coaches are out there, who are they going to be able to pull, what connections do they have, how am I going to best staff all of my positions. It's not like a traditional corporate environment in which this position is funded
Yeah.
At a base funding.
At a base funding. And
right.
And it's one of those things where, like I said, is what the coach, i.e. the CEO of that program, feels the value of those roles and the coaches. And
based off of how much money the athletic department says. Pretty much what they say is, here's what you got. It's like when, let's play this out. So pretend like you're going to the store with your parents.
Yeah.
You got all your birthday money.
Yeah.
They tell you how much you've got.
Yeah.
It's up to you to determine how many toys you want.
Yeah.
Or if you want to save it for a rainy day.
Yeah.
So you can either get one super expensive toy, you can get 10, hypothetically, on the field toys.
Yeah.
And that's where the majority of your money goes to.
Yeah. Majority of the coaching pool, yes.
Or you spend a little bit everywhere.
Yes. And that's the...
But the kind of toy and the quality of the toy and the longevity of said toy, based off of your allowance and your birthday money, determines how much money they should make. It's a lot of push and pull.
It's a lot of push and pull.
It's not just like in a corporate environment where they go, okay, bachelor's degree equals this amount, master's degree equals this amount, number of years experience equals this amount, here's how much we pay for that type of role, here's where you fit in.
Yeah.
Boop.
Yeah.
That's not what it is in athletics.
It's definitely not what it is in athletics. And every, of course, program is different and every athletic department is ran differently. But essentially, you have to understand that these coaches are, people say it, they're businessmen and they're CEOs, and they have to decide where they're going to spend their money, where they're going to see the return on their investment. And then also, they have to look at it from a standpoint of what's the best return on their investment. Like, at the end of the day, they're judged off wins and losses.
Right.
And if they want to get a shiny, expensive toy that's going to help them, in their eyes, get those wins and losses faster, that's up to that coach. And so
it really is just like owning an entrepreneurial small business.
Yeah.
Like, are you going to buy this season's hot ticket item?
Yeah.
Or are you going to hope you get it right next year?
Get it right next year, or are you going to invest in a different avenue that could bring up, you know, it's crazy.
And if you invest incorrectly,
then you're looking for a job.
You go belly up.
You go belly up.
You're bankrupt.
You're bankrupt.
Yeah.
And so with that, going back to what we were talking about, like, we had a very unique place to be in when that first year happened. So we were like, is Tallahassee going to call? Or with Ryan, Coach Silverfield, like, he now is the first year head coach. What is his value in terms of his coaching staff?
Right.
He's getting phone calls from everybody across the nation trying to get on his staff because all the holes he had to fill.
Right.
And so, we had that conversation with him after the Cotton Bowl about the role. He saw the value of what I had done from afar because he was an offensive line coach. So I didn't interact with him that much because he was an offensive line coach. And so he kept us on. And that first year with him was a roller coaster because it was COVID. It was no spring football. It was, will we have a fall? And so it was budget cuts. It was furloughs. And so it was a lot that time frame took place. But through it all, we are now as a family deciding, okay, from a budgetary standpoint, we can't afford this life much longer.
Right.
Because when we first got in and we had the conversation with Coach Norvell, we had a vision of, okay, we'll take this leap of faith for a year. After the year, we'll be able to sit down with him and evaluate what we're able to do and maybe negotiate our value to him because he's the one that brought us in. Well, he moves on, and so now we're like, all right, we have to figure something out. And then, we decided as a family, let's take another leap of faith, and we sold our house.
Yeah. So we sold our house in the middle of COVID, just before the overall citywide lockdown happened.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It went listed, and by the glory of God, it got under contract.
It got a contract.
In 3 days.
3 days. It was a blessing, and we knew, all right, we can put this money to the side. We can live off of this profit and with my income for, again, another 6 months. We're like, okay, so let's see what happens after the season. Well, we have a great season in standards of COVID and everything, go 8-3. We have a bowl
Victory. Yep.
Okay, all right. So what happens now? Immediately in the coaching and support staff role, after towards October, November, that's when kind of I won't say the floodgates open, where a lot of moves and shifts start happening, and coaches start moving.
That's when the fire hydrant water literally comes off of the hydrant.
Yeah.
And it's just flowing.
It's flowing, and you have coaches moving, you have support staff moving, and so we, again...
Like, the normal person cannot keep up with it all.
Oh, no, you can't keep up with it all.
Did you know that I sell makeup? Not only do I sell makeup, but the makeup that I sell is 3D makeup, which allows you to highlight and contour your face in a super simple compact. As a mom, I could not survive without my simplified routine. Not only that, but it's exactly what you need. Exactly when you need it, all in one spot. Go ahead and check out Alanna Mizell on Instagram or alannamizell.com to learn more.
And so we are then now like, all right, is this our time? We see these coaches are moving. We're sending text messages here. We're putting contacts here. We're trying to figure out what could be out there for us, because we have to, again, protect the family and protect where we are right now. And then, weeks went by, months went by, a couple opportunities presented that we
really thought were going to
shake out. But again, it's a waiting game.
That, and it wasn't until, I don't even know when it was, but Steven and I we went into therapy, and for the first time somebody said, do you think it would be beneficial for your marriage for you to move out of Memphis right now? And we both, for the first time, said no.
No, we both said no.
We had never asked that question, though.
Yeah. No,
we had just assumed that we would figure it out, which,
we would have.
We would have.
But
there's a difference between, is it what is best?
Yeah.
Not, can you figure it out?
Yeah, exactly.
Are you going to be in it at the end? Yeah, of course we are. But what is best? And that's, I think, one of the biggest things as far as you stepping away from the University of Memphis now as an entity, as a person. What is best?
Yeah.
Not can you do it?
Yeah. And that's when we really refocused our job search and job career. Like, all right, yes, it's probably not the best that we just pick up and move out of Memphis right now. And we started, talking to people, having conversations about what's next for us. Yeah. And, we are grateful that we were approached by a mutual friend that, presented us with this great opportunity.
Really fell into your lap.
It really didn't fall into, it kind of fell into the lap because we were just having dinner.
Right.
And he just mentioned a position.
Hey, do you know anybody?
And then he was
Steven goes, well, tell me more about it.
Yeah.
And then, I wish you guys could have seen our friend's face when Steven said, well, tell me about it. And he was like, wait a second.
Would you?
I have the opportunity to get Steven Mizell.
Yes. He was very intrigued and very like, this can't be real. So
yeah,
we had dinner. We enjoyed dinner. And then he followed the next day. It was like, are you seriously? Would you seriously?
Is this real?
Is this real life? Would you seriously?
Don't dangle the carrot in front of my face if I can't have it.
And the first reaction I think me and Alanna both said collectively was like a very firm maybe. Because we both, I don't know, at that point were we really ready to.
We hadn't even thought about it.
We hadn't thought about it. We even not
really stepping away from football or athletics was not on the radar.
It was not on the radar.
But our biggest thing when we are mentoring people, when we are mentoring each other, we constantly remind each other, it never hurts to have a conversation. And here's why. That doesn't give anybody false promise, ever.
No.
We didn't say we're going to take it.
No, not at all.
We're not dangling along a boss or whomever.
Yeah.
Right? And Steven and I know a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that to brag, but just because we have the conversation to find out more about an opportunity doesn't mean that one of us are going to take it, but I can almost bet that we can refer somebody who we think would be great for it.
Exactly.
And I think that's so important as people to understand that just because you're having a conversation about a potential opportunity Here's a great example. Steven actually interviewed for the director of admissions position at Harding Academy years ago.
Years ago.
Years ago. He got a phone call from one of our dear friends who was the athletic director at the time.
Yeah.
Hey, would you be interested? And Steven goes, sure, I'll have a conversation. Steven didn't get the position.
No.
Well, fast forward another year,
Yeah.
I become the admissions assistant.
Yes.
And then fast forward a little bit further, and then I'm the director of admissions.
Yes.
So had Steven never opened the door
To see what...
to have the conversation,
Yeah.
put himself out there to be interviewed and turned down,
Yeah.
and gone a different direction, then who knows where I would be,
Yeah.
where we would be. Our kids go to school there.
Yeah. And that's something...
There's so many
And that's something
things.
else that I think I would definitely say, and I tell younger people, quote unquote, who I mentor, I think this younger generation has a different philosophy on it, but I remember one of the biggest mistakes, I mean, I know things happen for a reason, but I think one of the biggest mistakes I made when I first started working at MTSU, I was eager, I was out on the road, I was killing it, I was doing a great job. I turned down at least 3 opportunities to have coffee or conversation with other entities that saw my value because I was young and loyal. I was like, no, I can't leave. I just got here.
Right.
But I turned down just a conversation. I don't know if I would have got the job. I don't know if they even offered a job to me, but I was so blinded by and it's okay to be loyal, but I was so blinded by just that piece
there's a
of it.
difference between, we're not saying you're not loyal to a company.
Yeah,
What we're saying is networking is a fine-tuned skill.
very.
And there are people that I've reached out to in the last 2 weeks that I haven't talked to in years, but because the ability to network and have relationships, authentic relationships, to where you can literally be like, I care about you still.
Yes.
Life happens. We don't interact every day, but people also call us and haven't talked to us for years. And they're like, hey, do you know?
Or do you mind?
Can we catch up?
Yeah, exactly.
That, you guys, that is networking at its finest. And to say no to a coffee is essentially saying no to networking with that person.
Yeah, and that's something
They're
that...
not going to call you and ask you again to have
they're
coffee.
not. They're not. And that's something that, looking back on it, and that was something that I honed in, I would say probably a few years after that. I was like, dude, why didn't you? But again, it's something that,
The
you
reason
live,
is
you learn.
because you needed to move to Memphis to meet your wife and have your kids.
That's very true.
But I also think what you said is super important too. And I've learned this along the way, is that so many times God will blind us from something that is not yet ours to take.
Ooh, yes.
So many times God will blind us from something that is not yet ours to take. Mm-hmm. So there, for me, moving from New Hampshire to Memphis, there was so much pain, but it wasn't mine to take and deal with yet.
Yeah.
Because I would have never moved.
True.
I would have been in a pit. I needed to just function.
Yeah.
You were blinded because it wasn't yet yours to take.
Yeah. No,
You
that's...
were blinded
yeah.
to the point till Memphis said something to you, because his goal for you was to be here in this city.
Yeah. And no, that's it's very true. And that's
And so,
something that,
but all that to say, maybe that's why an opportunity doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Because God is blinding you from something that is not yet yours to take.
And that's something that you look back on this whole journey. So people might look to say, man, you put in 6+ years and all these leaps of faith for you to get this director of player relations role, and now you're walking away.
Yeah.
And sometimes, God brings you to a season, and he brings you to a job or a career or a opportunity
Or a friendship.
to help you learn and grow more as yourself, but also to help you just impact that organization for that season.
Right.
And, now I've had numerous conversations with other people who are in this industry who are stepping away and saying, again, we had this conversation. And so, I am leaving athletics. I am leaving higher education. Am I leaving forever? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know, but I do
Right.
know right now.
The thing is, it's not a sour taste in our mouth that it's saying, I ended up hating this industry or this career path.
Yeah.
That's not it.
Not at all. Yeah.
It's that right now, God has delivered an opportunity to Steven that just feels what's supposed to happen next.
It feels like what's supposed to happen next.
Yeah.
And again, I think every episode we've brought this up. COVID changed a lot of people in various different ways.
Yeah.
And that time frame, I don't know if I didn't experience the lockdown with the family and the move and the bonds that me and Alanna were able to create and seeing Briggs go from we first moved in his house to where he is now and Adele growing. I don't know if I was all in, quote unquote, with the industry and COVID never happened. Would I be still so blinded by what I thought could be and not be as grateful as I am for you guys? Because I would have kept going. We would have kept going. And it would have never slowed down to see that.
Right. But the first year and the years prior, it was not yet yours to take and step away.
That's true.
There's also so much value in what you learned in working for this position.
True.
There's so much value.
So much value. So much sacrifice. So much
There's so much growth that you've had internally by fighting for this position.
Yeah.
There's so much growth that you and I have had
in this,
in laying down certain parts of each of ourselves for the other in both facets.
Both facets,
so,
yes,
like,
exactly.
I stepped away from a full-time position, a traditional 9 to 5, for many reasons. Yeah. Looking back, I realized it would have been impossible with the age of our kids.
Yes.
Not impossible, but for me, pretty close.
Pretty much impossible.
Pretty close impossible with the hours that Steven was putting in.
Yeah.
But there's so much growth in that. The amount of growth that I've had as a mother, the amount of connection I've had with my kids, I could never replace that.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you being able to see an entirely different facet of me and us being able to put pushes on different aspects of our marriage are things that will get us through other industries that at our age is rare.
Yeah. Yes. And that's 100% something that, as I continue to reflect on all of that, it's
just because it was hard doesn't mean it's not worth it.
Worth it. Yeah. And just because you're stepping away or making a change doesn't mean it wasn't worth it.
And it doesn't mean you failed. That's the other thing.
Yes.
It does not mean Steven did not fail.
Oh, no.
Steven did not fail. And I think that also as people, younger people, like my degree is in fashion and home furnishings. I didn't fail. Because my undergrad is something different.
Yeah.
I didn't fail because I didn't go into my degree program. Steven isn't failing because he sought out to be the director of player relations and he's stepping away from it. Yeah. No. The beauty is in the transformation. Does a flower fail if it doesn't bloom as long as it's supposed to? No.
Still bloom.
It still grows and it blooms.
Yeah.
It's the fact that under the dirt, when it is dark out, it's working hard to be able to break through the soil. And that's literally what you did prior to getting named director of player relations.
Yeah.
We had 4 years before you ever got named.
Yeah.
Of growing underneath the soil. Laying the roots.
Yeah.
And before that, if you actually thought about it, it really started back at MTSU. Well, really, let's take it back. And it really started in New York.
Yeah.
And actually, this position now, you dug all the way back to your broadcast communication degree.
Yeah.
And that was one of the biggest things and the biggest turning points for you during this interview.
Yep. You're right.
And Steven was even able to bring up some on the job training that his dad gave him
when he was like 9 and 10 years old. Yes. Yeah.
Growing up. So God blinded you from going into work with your dad.
Yeah.
For this opportunity that's coming right now.
Yeah.
And if we don't sit down and reflect on all of the growth and just dwell on the failure that is fixated because of a limiting belief that we have that we didn't amount to something that the world thought that we should be and not what you actually genuinely wanted. That's the difference, y'all.
Yeah.
It's what does the world want is one thing.
Yeah.
But what does Steven want?
Yeah.
And Steven wanted growth.
Yep.
Steven wanted mentorship in that environment.
Did you get that? Yeah. Did you add structure to a position that was really new?
Yeah.
It was the first time that it was a full-time role.
True.
So you were creating a position. And I think that there's a lot of, so many times we don't put the emphasis on ourselves of how much we did or how much we created or how much we've blossomed or how much we've grown because we don't see it. We just do it.
Just do it. Yeah.
We're designed and created to do that thing. You were designed and created to grow the player relations programming at the University of Memphis, and you did it.
Yeah. And now
whoever comes after you has a blueprint. What a blessing.
Yeah. You're right. And that's something that, we embarked on, and we, want to give you guys this tidbit. And so now you're probably listening like, all right, so what is next? What are
you doing, bud?
What are the Mizels going to do next? Now that he's changing the career and, what's next for the Mizels? And
because we all know we don't just stick with a 9 to 5.
Yeah, we're stick to 9 to 5.
If you guys know us in real life, I mean, we have a podcast. We both have a career. Steven does real estate part-time. Why not?
So what's next? You got to tune in next week.
Ooh, I didn't know you were going to do that.
Yeah,
Ouch.
Tune in next week to see what
have
we got
going. Have
going.
you guys seen that movie?
What
is it?
Our podcast is not complete without Alanna either free-flowing or doing a movie name drop. And she is drinking something, by the way.
Just water.
Just water today, though.
Oh, my gosh. It's with Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler has a lot of movies.
I know. It's Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston. And they go on a tropical vacation. And he's a plastic surgeon. And he goes, oh, ouch.
Oh, yes. When he has kids and she's like his head nurse or something, that movie.
Yes. Okay.
Right.
All that to say, tune in next week so you can hear
what the Mizels are doing next. We were able to break down a huge change for us. Steven stepping away from the University of Memphis.
Yeah.
And the director of player relations.
We're not saying go quit your job.
No.
What we're saying is if you're in a season that doesn't feel right, God is probably blinding you from something else.
Yeah.
Intentionally.
And embrace it.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us and tuning into the Mizel Show. We are so grateful for you guys. Don't forget to hop over to our website, themizelshow.com, or check us out on Instagram, The Mizel Show. Are you loving The Mizel Show? Well, we love you all. And did you know that you can have me and Steven talk to your team or a group of 25 of your friends? All it takes is 25 people showing up on either a Zoom call, a Facebook Live, or really anywhere, hopefully in person sooner rather than later. But how do you get us? So all you have to do is email themizelshow@gmail.com, or you can direct message us on Instagram @themizelshow.